Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. They're funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today we're looking at r/MaliciousCompliance, where a new manager loses the company $1 million on his first day of the job. My boss demanded I serve all customers and fill all shelves, no matter how far past closing hours it was. Posted by Spooks McBeef. So, the first job I ever worked at was a grocery retail store, which had several different departments, including a deli for lunch meat and cheeses, which is where I worked. One night I was working from 1 to 9 PM. 9 PM is when the deli and other specialist departments closed, and were expected to be done and clocked out, but the rest of the store remained open 24/7 for general groceries. So, one night, it was just me and one other guy. We'd had an especially busy night, and were a little behind on our cleaning as a result, but we had our meat slicing machines already coated with sanitizer after working for 15 minutes to get all the little chunks of meat out of every corner. We were pretty serious about making sure those things were as clean as can be. It was about 8:55 at this point. We were already running late, and the store we worked for did not like overtime. If you had any amount of overtime, you'd get chewed out for it the next day, even for a little amount. So, a woman came up to the counter and began looking through the product. We had a glass case filled with a bunch of different types of lunch meats, pre-sliced and ready to go for bagging up. She looked at one and said, "I want this turkey right here, but I want it freshly sliced." The two slices we had were still covered in sanitizer and were drying. As per food safety protocol, we have to allow 20 minutes minimum for the sanitizer to dry. I told her, "Well ma'am, we really can't do that right now. Our slices are both being cleaned at the moment, as the department closes in 5 minutes, but I'd be glad to get you something from here, from our cold case." "So you're not gonna slice it fresh for me? That's what you're saying?" I replied, "That's correct, I apologise." Without another word, she walked away, and me and my coworker went back to what we were doing. We finished cleaning and went home about 5 minutes later, narrowly clocking out on time. Fast forward 2 days later, me and the same coworker came in and got to work like any normal day. At about 3 PM, 2 hours into my shift, I got personally called into the head honcho's office. I thought nothing of it and headed upstairs. The store director handed me a piece of paper and said, "Tell me what caused this." I looked at the paper. It was a printed out screenshot of a Google review for our store. 1 out of 5 star. And a full paragraph from that lady from 2 nights ago, complaining that she didn't get her freshly sliced meat from the rude employee, and then specifically described me. I explained exactly what happened 2 nights prior, as clear as I'm typing out here. The director was getting heated, and began cutting me off while I was speaking, asking, "Why would the slices be covered in sanitizer at 8:55? You're scheduled to work until 9 PM. I said, "Yes I am, but since I'm constantly being reminded to not get any overtime, I usually start cleaning them about 8:30. The director got even more upset and raised her voice. "I don't care! That's not how it works! If you have a customer, you serve them! And you'd better start making sure those shelves are filled before you leave, or you won't be working here anymore! Now get out!" I was pretty salty at this point. I went back down to the department and my coworker asked, "What happened?" I told him and he said, "So, they want everything done before we leave?" I said, "Yep," and without another word, he knew exactly what we needed to do. 9 PM hits and our shelves, as usual, are only half full. But since we've been given this new standard, we decided to stay and make sure we did as I was instructed to do. We spent hours slicing and slicing and slicing until every single tray of meat and cheese was full. We had plastic totes in the big fridge, full of cheese that we sliced, that were wrapped up in half-pound blocks for ease of sale. So we decided to fill that tub over the brim with every single type of cheese we had available. We cut up 700 pounds of cheese and wrapped it up in the fridge. We also had a Subway-style sandwich counter where we made sandwiches to order and also pre-made on the shelves for sale. We made double the usual amount of sandwiches and filled the shelves as requested. By the time we were done, not a single shelf had an empty spot left on it. After every single possible item on shelf was as full as it could be, we finally started to clean and close. It was about 3 AM when we finally left. The department opens at 5 AM. We were exhausted, but our spiteful overtime venture made us feel pretty good. We got about 6 hours of overtime in, and they hated anyone getting even 5 to 10 minutes of overtime. We both came in the next day at 1 PM as usual, expecting complete retaliation. But no. Instead, our department manager of the deli came over to us and said, "Hey, you should be good to start cleaning up about 8:30 as usual. I think she, the director, got the point you made." Normally overtime would be taken care of by making us clock out for lunches or come in later than usual, but they let us keep all 6 hours of that overtime. They never said anything about overtime ever again after that, and about 6 months later, I accepted a job offer that paid almost double, and I never went back into retail hell ever again. So, back in my old hospitality days, I worked in a cafe, and the machine would take time to clean, just like in OP's story. But we were always scheduled for our shift to end at the same time the cafe closed. And we didn't even get overtime, you just weren't paid past closing hours. And just like with OP, the owner somehow expected us to still be making coffees till the last minute of opening hours, and then magically clean the store and close up instantaneously. Obviously, they knew that wasn't actually possible, they just wanted free labor out of us. So we did what OP did, shut things down and start cleaning 30 minutes before closing hours, and told customers that we couldn't serve coffees anymore. The owner knew this and would literally call the store 5 minutes before close and pretend to be a customer ordering a coffee to try to catch us out, as if we couldn't recognize his voice. No one leaves till 5 PM, but no overtime? Bet. Posted by Ulrus. Several years ago, I worked for an aerospace manufacturing company as a setup operator, meaning my job was to arrive before the shift started, usually 3 or 4 hours early, to make sure that all 5 access mills were calibrated, the ATC magazines were all loaded correctly, and the tooling was in good condition, nothing dulled or broken. After being there for several years, the company eventually got acquired, and new management came in. I'm there from 3 or 4 in the morning until 1 to 2 PM, sometimes earlier if a new job gets added to the floor. The schedule works fine for me, I get to beat the traffic both ways, and the pay's a bit higher due to the differential. After a few weeks, it gets noticed that I constantly leave early and always run over on hours, so management implements a new policy. Work starts at 9 AM and runs until 5 PM. You have to be on the floor and ready to go when the clock hits 9 AM. I try explaining to my boss exactly why I leave early, but he's more concerned about numbers and cash flow than what I actually do there. So fine, you want 9 to 5? I'll work 9 to 5. Instead of clocking in at 4, I chill in my car until 8:45, roll into the building, and wait until exactly 9 to clock in, then head to the floor. I roll up to the first machine and hit the E-stop, which shuts it down instantly. I tell the operator that it hasn't been set up and they need to wait until it's ready. I head down the line, switching off each machine as I go, telling the operators the same thing. It's not ready, go wait. I start at the end of the line, calibrating the entire magazine, verifying everything in there is in spec and ready to be used, taking my sweet ass time. Meanwhile, the rest of the line is dead in the water. Nobody can do any work until their deck passes calibration and is certified to be used. I'm partway through the second unit when the new manager comes breathing down my neck. Why is nothing running? What's going on? Etc, etc. I sit back on my haunches and calmly explain to him that this is my job, the one that, until today, I used to come in hours early to do, so as to not mess with the production schedule. It needs to get done. Everything should be ready to start in about another 5 to 6 hours, boss. I'm told to unlock the machines and get the line moving. No can do, boss. None of these machines are checked, and I'm not signing off on the certification until I'm done. Anything not certified is an instant QC reject. Choose, either run the line and reject $1 million in parts, or let me finish and lose $1 million in production time, and I go back to my old schedule tomorrow. The plant got a day paid to do nothing. I got the new boss off my back, and he got reamed to all hell for losing a day's production. Yeah, he's never gonna mess with OP again. If you ever have a bad day at work, just remember, this guy lost the company $1 million. If you like this video, please let me know, and subscribe for more juicy tea.